Forever. Dog.
Oh, baby. Yes, yes, yes. What a weekend. Holy shit, what a weekend. It's one of those weekends that feels like an entire lifetime has passed. Did anyone else have that kind of weekend? Halloween. Daylight savings. One of the greatest World Series of my lifetime, at least. I feel like I'm 5 years older. And maybe 5 years wiser. Who knows? Who knows? I was also, still am, a little under the weather. Oh, poor me. Oh, I'm sick. Poor me. That is why I'm wearing sunglasses inside right now, as is my wont. I often wear sunglasses inside. But this week, it's a bit of a necessity because if you saw the state of my eyes right now, you would send a wellness check over to Forever Dog headquarters. So I'm going to spare you that. I'm going to spare you that jump scare. And just a word on the World Series before we get going here. I know this isn't a sports podcast, but just a word on this World Series because it was very cinematic. If you're looking for a link, if you need a connective thread, if you despise tangents, just a word on that old World Series. Number one, go Dodgers. Congrats to the Dodgers. Money buys a lot of things. It buys a lot of things. It does not buy that kind of grit. It does not buy that kind of grit. You also don't need a lot of money to sign Miguel Rojas, Will Klein, Andy Pajes, Kike, an injured Tommy Edmonds. Nobody wanted Tommy. Y'all forget that. Nobody wanted Tommy. Doesn't take a lot of money to draft Will Smith, trade for Mookie Betts. And look, of course the money is a factor. The money is a huge factor. The money gets you Shohei and Yoshi. But if you think it's just the money, you're the Mets, baby. You ain't the Dodgers. Also, all these fucking owners got money, okay? They all got money. All of them. All of them. Don't blame the Dodgers. Blame your team's cheap-ass owner. I'll start. My hometown team, my favorite team, no matter how much pain they cause me of various sorts, the Atlanta baseball team, are owned by John Malone, one of the most famous billionaires of all time, David Zaslav's friggin' puppet master, if you're looking for another movie connection. John Malone could have paid for Freddie Freeman after Freddie won a frickin' World Series ring for Atlanta, which are hard to come by in Atlanta, I would know. I grew up with the 90s iteration of the team, 13 division titles in a row and only one ring. Would have been two if not for the strike year. John Malone could have snapped his fingers and paid Freddie. But he said, nah. Let the king of the walk-off walk. Okay, John. Okay, you cheap ass. Look at the state of the team now. But even if you dish out the money, even if you pay Freddie Freeman, it's no guarantee of a ring, not in baseball. Not in baseball. Football, basketball, more star-driven. But baseball, what is so great about baseball and what makes it a template for life is one simple rule. You never know where it's going to come from. You never know. And more often than not, it comes from the unexpected places. It comes from the unexpected places. A Miguel Rojas home run in the bottom of the ninth? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The last home run that Miguel Rojas hit was on September 19th. According to the numbers, he had a 0.5 chance of hitting a home run off a right-hander in that situation. But I said it. I was watching the pitch sequence. I told Amy, I said, if this guy keeps throwing that many sliders, eventually he's going to hang one. And I'm just adult sitting on my couch. You don't think the Dodgers know that? And sure enough, 3-2. 3-2 count. He hung one. Jays fans, I feel you, though. If anybody feels you, I feel you. Trust me. I've been there. I know what it's like. I lived through the 28-3 Super Bowl, among 100 other examples. That one almost ended me. I almost expired on the spot. I almost said I can't live. I can't go on after this. But you get up, you dust yourself off, and you hold on to the misery. Hold on to that misery. Don't get over it. Make it part of you. Because when it finally happens, and it does, I believe this, it does finally happen for every sports fan. If you live long enough, I guess. I thought it was never going to happen for me. But then when Stetson Bennett the fourth, this is getting very deep into sports. I'm sorry if you're exclusively here for movies talk, which would make sense considering the name and genre of the show. But just let me have just one more minute of this, please. Just one more minute. I'm begging you. When Stetson Bennett the fourth, I can see it clear as day, drew Bama offsides in the 2022 Natty and threw that bomb to A.D. Mitchell, that thing of beauty. When Georgia finally knocked off the Crimson Tide, all that compounded misery from all the years just made the joy that much more cathartic. You can't have one without the other. If you have joy without misery, you're a nepo baby. You're privileged. You're so privileged you're out of contention for humanity. You can't have one without the other. And it's the same for movies, I think. It is the same for movies. The thrill of seeing a movie like One Battle After Another is all the more thrilling because of all the bad movies I sat through this year. All of the empty theaters where it was just me and one other dude watching Reagan. Those experiences made One Battle After Another, the experience of watching One Battle After Another, that much better. And that's why movies and sports are life. They are life itself. But Jays fans, I gotta say, you have a hell of a team. Hell of a baseball team. Holy shit. Is that a hell of a baseball team? Ernie Clement. I never thought that a guy who looks like a background actor in Can't Hardly Wait could strike such fear into my heart every time he picked up a bat. But that's baseball, baby. That's baseball. You never know where it's going to come from. You never know. I also saw a sing-along screening of K-pop Demon Hunters this weekend with my family, and holy shit, was that a blast. Oh my God. I think they're doing these for another week. If they are, get thee to a theater for one of these sing-along screenings of K-pop Demon Hunters. My theater was going wild. People dancing in the aisles. When they did the Golden at the very end, the big song Golden, the big number, there was a kid in the row in front of us, probably about 8 years old, And this kid was as free as a bird. Running up and down. Just running up and down the aisle. Hell of a weekend. Hell of a weekend. I also saw some other movies this weekend that I can't wait to talk about. Bugonia. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick Ya. Oh, baby. It's going to be a bit of a short one this week because of aforementioned crazy weekend plus aforementioned, I'm a little sick. And maybe a little light on the bells and whistles that have come to define this show over the last couple episodes. A minimalist episode of Movies, Baby. But short don't mean sour. Short don't mean sour. Very often, short can mean sweet. And I think this is going to be a sweet one. I do think this is going to be a sweet one. Like a Yamamoto splitter. It's going to be sweet and a little nasty. It's Movies, Baby. Roll the theme song!
The backbone of this country is the independent film critic. The power of movies must be protected. The best thing about movies is the feeling they give. It's a feeling I want to feel every day. Movies, baby! Movies, baby! Movies, baby! Movies, baby!
I love a black ball.
Welcome to Movies, Baby. I'm Brett Boehm, a.k.a. the Georgia Movie Dawg. Go Dogs. And I'm coming to you live from the San Fernando Valley. I saw Bugonia, and If I Had Legs, I'd Kick Ya this weekend, and I can't wait to talk about them. But first, for the first time in Movies, Baby history, don't show me the money. It was a terrible week at the box office. Not a single movie cracked 10 million domestic. The Back to the Future 40th anniversary re-release was the 6th biggest movie of the week, and thus ended a truly terrible October at the box office. The domestic box office only made $425 million in the month of October. That's $425 million total. That is the lowest total for October since 1997, not adjusted for inflation. Excluding 2020, but not excluding 2021. So this October was worse than October 2021, was worse than October 1998, not adjusted for inflation. That's bad. That's bad. But so it goes. The money rises, the money falls, people freak out, and the movies remain. The movies remain. Let's talk about Bugonia. Bugonia is directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. It is his 11th feature film and his 3rd in 3 years, starring Emma Stone, following Poor Things and Kinds of Kindness. He also made The Favorite with her in 2018. Bugonia is an English-language remake of the 2003 South Korean film Save the Green Planet by Jang Joon-hwan. It was written by Will Tracy, a very smart, savvy, political satirist and writer. He was the editor at The Onion. He wrote on Last Week Tonight and Succession. He also wrote that movie The Menu with Ralph Fiennes and Nicholas Hoult and Anya Taylor-Joy. Yorgos also brings back his current favorite DP, Robbie Ryan, who has worked on every film of his since The Favorite, and is responsible for that signature fisheye that Yorgos just can't get enough of. Now, what is Bugonia about, you ask? Well, it follows 2 young men who kidnap a powerful CEO, suspecting that she is secretly an alien who wants to destroy Earth. Promising premise. Great trailer. Bugonia stars Emma Stone, of course. Jesse Plemons is back here after he was in Kinds of Kindness. Aidan Delbise, Stavros Halkias, all right, podcasting, and Alicia Silverstone is here in a bit of a cameo. Now, let's talk about Yorgos to begin with, because there's a couple career arcs that we've been tracking very closely on Movies, Baby, And Yorgos Lanthimos' career is definitely one of them because he has emerged over the last 5 to 10 years as one of the most influential breakthrough art house directors. And that's always an interesting thing. When a director is starting out in the art house, has a quote-unquote weird aesthetic, makes quote-unquote weird movies, but then manages to break through into commercial success, critical success, Oscar nominations. It's interesting to chart the career of that type of director. Yorgos is also a director whose movies, for me at least, ride the line between auteur and fauteur. Sometimes, as in The Favorite, Dogtooth, parts of Killing of a Sacred Deer, Yorgos seems like a visionary. He seems like one of our best directors. He seems like he's got the stuff. But other times, Poor Things, Kinds of Kindness, he comes off as more of a poser, in my opinion. He comes off as the I remember my first beer of avant-garde cinema. Avant-garde cinema for normies and wannabes. Now, Yorgos does come out of a authentic avant-garde cinematic scene, the so-called Greek weird wave that produced a lot of great movies. Athena Rachel Tsangari's Attenberg, notably, which Yorgos produced. Also Yorgos' own Dogtooth. But Yorgos is in Hollywood now. He's got Emma Stone on speed dial. The times, they are a-changing. So where does Bugonia fall on the Yorgos spectrum? For me, Bugonia continues the trajectory of Poor Things and Kinds of Kindness and falls more on the fauteur side of things than the auteur side of things. There are certainly some compelling elements at play in this movie, both in the performances and the filmmaking. But overall, this was another swing and a miss, another broken bat double play, sorry Jays fans, that prioritizes style over substance to such an extent that the movie itself is essentially gibberish. It's just stylized gibberish. But let's start with what worked for me in this movie. The performances are great on paper. Emma Stone is Emma Stoning, meaning she's giving a performance that is both extreme and nuanced. She's shaving her head and they're lathering her up her whole body with antihistamine cream. But then she's also doing things with her eyes and mouth that reflect such a precise emotion, it's stunning. Jesse Plemons is fantastic. He always is. Jesse Plemons performs the clouded brain so well. He brings so much life and nuance to psychopathic dolts. It's astounding. And this character, has his reasons for what he does, has his passions, his sick mother, the future of the bees, the planet, the future of the human civilization. This guy has his reasons. But he's also insane. He's mentally ill. And Jesse Plemons performs the line there so expertly. Stavros Halkias, Stabby Baby, was very, very funny in a very difficult role. He plays a cop who used to babysit Jesse Plemons' character and molested him, but is now trying to gently sweep it under the rug, and of course has the badge, the facade of law enforcement as a way of protecting him from consequences. But Stabby is very funny in this role. He'll stop by Jesse Plemons' house at inopportune moments and say things like, "Hey, man, so I know I wasn't the best babysitter." He's very funny. The filmmaking was also gorgeous in large part. Yorgos and Robbie Ryan, the DP, We're not relying quite as much on the fisheye in Bugonia, which I appreciated. That was nice. Instead, they let the compositions speak for themselves a little bit more. And the compositions were gorgeous. I recognized this immediately as Metro Atlanta because it had that unique combination of backwoods houses down the street from shimmering glass corporate headquarters. Only in Atlanta, baby. And it comes across gorgeously on screen. So that's a lot of compliments for what I have called a swing and a miss. So why was I left feeling so empty at the end of Bugonia? So bored, to be honest. Why couldn't Yorgos combine these elements into a satisfying and compelling whole? Well, first, Yorgos is very dependent on his scripts. I was going back like freaking Sherlock Holmes through his filmography and trying to figure out, where did Yorgos sort of lose his way? Or was he always sort of veering one way and another off the path? When did it sort of, what happened with Yorgos? What's going on with Yorgos? And one thing I realized is Yorgos put such a specific stylistic imprint on his movies that you really think of him as the full auteur. You really think of these as Yorgos movies. But Yorgos has gone away from writing. Doesn't seem to really want to write movies anymore. After Killing of a Sacred Deer, his only writing credit is a co-writing credit on Kinds of Kindness. And so he's become very dependent on other people's scripts for the effect of the movie, in terms of what the movie is going to be. And here in Bugonia, although I think Will Tracy is a talented writer, I thought the script for Bugonia was pretentious and repetitive and didn't have nearly as much to say as it thought it did by the end. And you're just left with a lot of asinine generalizations about corporate America and conspiracy theory culture and class warfare. I kind of felt the same way about The Menu, which makes me wonder if maybe Will Tracy is not meant to be a screenwriter. I mean, Succession, Last Week Tonight, those are amazing TV shows. The Onion is one of the greatest contributions to human civilization ever. Maybe movies are just not his thing. I don't know. But this script did rely on some cheap tricks. There are a couple sort of explosions of violence that aren't earned, but are more just sort of lame attempts at making something happen. There's a Deus Ex Machina ending that you see coming from a mile away. I don't know if Deus Ex Machina is quite the right term. There's a twist ending that you see coming from a mile away. But this isn't just on Will Tracy. This isn't just on the writer. Yorgos's problem, I think, is that he likes the bad parts of his scripts the most, the scripts that he is adapting into movies. He makes a meal out of the most amateurish parts of the script while rushing past the more nuanced moments. And that makes me doubt his instincts as a director. Now, he has made enough very good to great movies that I do believe he's got more very good to great movies in him. But over the course of the last 3 years, Poor Things, Kinds of Kindness, Bugonia, I think he's devolved into a gimmicky stylist who takes a often flimsy script, slaps a fisheye lens and a gonzo Emma Stone performance on top of it, and hopes people will call it art. And a lot of people do call it art. Maybe it is, but not for me. I want more, Yorgos. I want more from you. I ain't buying this shit. I'm sorry. Bugonia isn't bad, though. I want to be clear. It's not bad. And in fact, there's enough there's enough good stuff in here that I'm going to give it 3 stars. Good. But considering its ambitions, that's a damning 3 stars. That's a damning 3 stars. Please don't let this thing win any Oscars, people. I'm begging you. Thankfully, Bugonia was not the only movie I saw this weekend. Let's talk about If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, one of my favorite movies of the year. That's right, I loved this movie. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You is directed and written by Mary Bronstein. This is her second feature film after 2008's Yeast. It's been too long, Mary, but oh baby, was it worth the wait. The DP here is Christopher Messina. No, not that Christopher Messina. It stars Rose Byrne, Conan O'Brien, A$AP Rocky, Danielle McDonald, and Christian Slater. What a cast. This movie is about a woman dealing with her daughter's mysterious illness, and she's all alone because her husband's on this interminable work trip, and then her house floods, so she has to move into a motel, and she's also a therapist, and her clients are all like stalking her to various degrees. This is a one character in the middle of 1,000 problems at once movie, and it is a hell of a ride. Hell of a ride. And I think If I Had Legs is a perfect movie to talk about versus Bugonia, because it also veers into the surreal, the satirical, the darkest of dark comedy. But, and this is a big but, it's also really fucking relatable. Really fucking relatable because of, not despite, its extreme rhythms. It's those extreme rhythms that unlock the relatability. And there are a lot of ways to relate to this movie. There's a lot of, I think, paths to empathizing with Rose Byrne's character. There's a lot of ways of recognizing her world as our world. For me, this was one of the most realistic depictions of parenting that I've ever seen. And realistic is a funny term to use for a movie that is as sort of surreal and gonzo as this. But again, it was because of that extremeness that it unlocked the relatability. The constant brain fog of parenting, the perpetual chaos of it all. There's so many moments in my life that I saw reflected here. Moments where I'm just sitting in a Costco looking around going, wait, what am I doing here? And then I realized that my son has been like screaming the Ninja Turtles theme song at the top of his lungs for honestly, who knows how long. There's so many moments in my life that I saw reflected here, granted to a much extremer degree. And so I was not surprised to later read that this is based on a real experience that Mary Bronstein went through. Her child had a sort of illness that they didn't know how to diagnose, similar to what is depicted in this movie. Mary had to take her kid to a special doctor, had to live in a hotel for a while they're figuring this out. Not at all surprising to learn that, because this movie, for all of its surrealism, is so relatable at heart. And in particular, Bronstein uses some cinematic techniques in this movie that vividly illustrate the themes of the movie. This movie is such a great combination of medium and message. Namely, it's shot almost entirely in these shallow focus close-ups. I've never seen anything like it, to be honest. And these are mostly close-ups of Rose Byrne, who I'll talk about in a second, who's amazing. You don't see the daughter at all until one shot at the very end. I mean, you'll see her like in little fragments, but mostly you just hear her voice sort of fading in and out in the background, and other voices and the chaos of the world, all in this sort of shadowy, hazy maelstrom that's just constantly circling around Rose Byrne, who is trapped in these close-ups, and you're trapped there with her. It's a simple trick, but it's a masterful trick at the same time, because it makes you feel the character's isolation, not just recognize it, but feel it yourself in your bones. And it makes you feel the chaos of the world. It's incredible. It's incredible. And if we've said it once on Movies Baby, we've said it 100 times. It's a trick that doesn't cost a thing. Doesn't cost a thing. In fact, it probably saved money. but it makes such a huge impact on the movie. Now let's talk about Rose Byrne. Holy shit, is Rose Byrne one of our great actors, and this is a career-defining performance. She is so good in this movie. She is funny and relatable and hanging on by a thread from start to finish. And she does so many things in this movie. There are so many elements to the performance. It veers between so many extremes for the entire runtime, and she's on screen, I think, the entire movie. And yet, despite all of the extremes that her character experiences and expresses, Rose Byrne makes it all feel like a whole. It doesn't feel like a collection of random choices. It feels like a person. She is a masterful actor, and she better get a fucking Oscar nomination for this. Conan O'Brien is very funny in this. She's a therapist, but he's her therapist, a la, Peter Bogdanovich in The Sopranos. And they have like sexual tension, but they also sort of have to look out for each other because they both work in the same office space with some very unpredictable clients. Conan O'Brien is great in this. He's of course very funny, but he's more than funny. He gives a really, really great performance in this. Now, I've seen some commentary on this movie about its relationship to the Safdie universe. Mary Bronstein is married to Ronnie Bronstein, the co-writer of all of the Safdie brothers movies, Daddy Longlegs, Good Time, Uncut Gems, Marty Supreme. You'll often hear him referred to as the third Safdie brother. He's also a great director, the director of Frownland. And then Josh Safdie was a producer on If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. And yes, this movie definitely has a lot in common with the pacing and style of Uncut Gems and Good Time. And there's clearly a shared school of thought about filmmaking between the Safdies and the Bronsteins. All I would say about that is let's just avoid any sexist traps of referring to this movie as derivative of the Safdie universe. Because far from derivative, I think this movie is a major evolution of the Safdie-Bronstein cinematic universe. And I think it stands alongside Uncut Gems as the best movie from that universe in terms of its quality and its impact on the audience. I think this is one of the best movies of the year. I currently have it ranked second out of all the movies I've seen this year, behind It Was Just an Accident. I love this movie. I love it so much. It's a real one. I'm giving it 4.5 stars. It's a gem, an honest-to-God gem. Go see it as soon as you can. As soon as you can. It's also so funny. There's also like 8 other things that are great that I didn't even have time to talk about. One of them being, it's so fucking funny. It's so funny. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Movies Baby. The minimalist episode of Movies Baby. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope I brightened the corners for you this fine Monday morning. And we've got lots of exciting stuff coming your way on Movies Baby this week and beyond. The Freak and I will have not 1, but 2 episodes of Weekend at Bergman's for you this week. And they're big ones. The Shining vs. Nightmare on Elm Street and The Thing vs. Possession. The Freak is quaking in his boots knowing he's not going to be able to watch 2 of those movies after this week. And this is all leading up to our big 1980s Tournament of Champions, which starts later this month to determine the ultimate movie of the 80s. We'll have 2 episodes of Weekend at Bergman's coming to you this week. They will be out at some point this week. I'm sorry. I'm sick. So stay tuned on Patreon for that. Patreon.com/moviesbaby with 5 Ys. Thank you to all of our Patreon subscribers. You literally allow us to keep doing this. So thank you. And if you're not subscribed, check it out. 7-day free trial. You can sign up for free and get notifications about all the stuff we're doing over there. It's easy. Just at least sign up for free. Go sign up for free and then see where it goes from there. And then next week on Movies Baby, oh boy, one of the most eagerly anticipated movies of the year, if you're me at least, Predator Badlands. I cannot wait for this. I loved Prey, And we got the same director, Dan Trachtenberg, back for another go in the Predator universe. I cannot wait for Predator Badlands. I think we're also going to get a look at Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, which should be coming out on Netflix by the time we do next week's episode. Also, some more great award season contenders coming out. Die My Love, the Lynn Ramsey movie, I believe, is coming out soon. Peter Hewer's Day, which I cannot wait for. Ira Sachs' new movie with Ben Whishaw and Rebecca Hall. Cannot wait for that. So we'll see. We'll definitely be talking Predator Badlands next week and probably one or more of those other movies. It's the movies, baby. You gotta love it. It's life. Bye!